Retrace is a feature of CodeWalker that allows you to very quickly understand what's happening in code when you may not have access to the normal debugger, or when the normal debugger might not actually be of any help. Like if something is happening often, but not all the time, and not in all of the code. So for example, in this case, when I hit the play button here, and this is a game that I wrote about 10 years ago, and I've updated it every year or so, but I don't remember how this particular code works. When I hit play, this little box here is supposed to move over towards this other thing. This is a simulation. This is supposed to be a little monster that chases another thing. In this case, it's not moving at all, and I don't know why. And the code is pretty complicated. It's pretty lengthy, and I really don't know what it does. So I've added the retrace feature. So I've added the retrace anchors, which is this 5 T's in a row. It's a specific function name that is documented in our retrace documentation. So I've added that in there along with line numbers and a few notes. Now I didn't have to add the line numbers. I could have used the documented way to do this that does not use line numbers, but I just wanted to show that you can use line numbers because you may not always have access to the debug logs. You may be able to, however, write out a file or send data over a network. So any way you can get the data into a single file for retrace, all it requires is the specific format that's documented. So I've done that. And now when I hit play and I wait a few seconds, it is currently trying to figure out what's going on, and it's generating a file for me. And it's here on the desktop. I've named it this. So I want to show you how this would work with CodeWalker. So we're going to open that file, that source code file, and this is what that source code file looks like. Now I could use CodeWalker to walk through this and get a better understanding of how all this code fits together, but as you can see, it's fairly complicated. And rather than try to guess what's wrong, I would like to just know what's wrong. So I'm going to open the retrace feature and load that file. And now I have that data loaded. Now there's a scrub bar here at the bottom, just like a timeline in a video editing program. And I can walk through this code one step at a time by hitting the step button. And you'll notice that it's walking me through this. I can walk forward and backward. And I have little notes over here that say on enable, player transform is null, about to find the first waypoint. These are notes that I wrote myself in the code when I was leaving that document, or when I was using the retrace feature. And I'm just going to hit this. I'm just going to hit play and see what happens. Well, already right now I can tell that it's saying can't find the player tag and it's returning. Oh, well, okay, that would probably do it. I could also go to view and turn on the retrace view. And this is going to show everywhere in the code that retrace hits. But more than that, it's going to show areas that it hits more often in red. And as you can tell here, we're actually hitting update and player transform is null and else return. That seems to be the thing that we're hitting the most. So if I just pick a spot out here in the middle of the timeline and scrub, you'll see that sure enough, that is actually what we're hitting quite a bit. And we're hitting some other stuff too. And so there's, if I had gone through this in a debugger, there's no guarantee that I would always have found that same spot, because it is doing other things in the code. But in this particular case, we've probably found our culprit. So let's go back there and try that. It looks like something should be named or tagged. What was it? Can't find the player tag. So here's our player, and it is untagged. So if I set that to player, and I run it, oh, okay, now it's working just fine. In fact, let's take a look and see what that looks like now that we know that it's working properly. And now when we reload our retrace view data, you can see that it looks very different. And scrubbing through this, we can see that all kinds of things are happening in this code. So that's how retrace works, and you can use it in any of the languages that CodeWalker supports, and you can use it by writing data to the log files, writing data to the console, writing data to a network stream, anything you want. You just have to get it into the format that we specify in the documentation. That's it, and thanks for watching.